Ladies and gentlemen, it appears as though ESPN is officially launching phase 2 of their strategy to revive the brand.
Those reports have Shannon Sharpe coming the first take. It's something that I want. It's something that I've declared. Here's the issue.
So we have a lot to talk about here today. So before we get to the content, Madden 24 is here, and we've already started giving away codes on my Instagram story at the Flight Mike and on my Snapchat story at Flight Mike Snap. We're gonna keep these giveaways going on both platforms for the next 2 weeks, just randomly dropping codes for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So make sure you're followed on all those platforms. My goal is to give away anywhere from 50 to 75 copies of Madden 24. And now that we get all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, the NFL is finally back.
That's impossible!
But I'm gonna admit, the preseason is boring as I mean, when the second stringers and third stringers come out, your boy does tend to fall asleep a little bit. But I found a way to make the preseason all the more interesting. Because ladies and gentlemen, we are back! Posting prize picks on the days that there are significant preseason games, starting from the Hall of Fame game all the way to the Super Bowl. Your boy is going to be making picks on his Instagram story. The picks are free. All you have to do is follow me on Instagram to get them. And if you haven't signed up for prize picks, right now when you use my promo code Mikerophone, you'll double your deposit up to $100. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsorship. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Over the past couple of months, 2 major sports networks have completely overhauled their entire content strategy. Shannon Sharpe left the #1 sports debate show in America, which was Fox Sports' Undisputed, and agreed to a buyout. Now, a lot of people speculated why Shannon Sharpe would do this to begin with. Some people thought it was because him and Skip Bayless weren't getting along anymore.
You gonna let me talk? Because that's what you do.
If you'll stay on point on questions.
You never stay on point.
Okay, I'm about to stay on point. Tell me when it's my turn.
It's not your turn.
Okay.
This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he's still playing at a high level at 45.
I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted.
Skip, let me finish.
All right, okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
But in my opinion, I always thought, and I still think, that it's all about the money. We frequently brought up Skip Bayless's contract. He signed a 4-year, $32 million contract extension 2 years ago. And when you compare that to the contract that the Pat McAfee show was on with FanDuel TV, a 4-year, $120 million contract for the entire show, which Pat McAfee recently left, which we'll get to that in just a sec. And then you consider the fact that Shannon Sharpe was very, very overworked. He had to wake up at like 4 a.m. to get to the studio at 5:30 a.m. Bear in mind, Fox is in Los Angeles, so he had to wake up really freaking early in order to do those daily debate shows with Skip Bayless. And he wasn't even getting paid as much as the Pat McAfee show was. So I feel like this decision was mainly because Shannon Sharpe would be getting paid more and his workload would decrease significantly. So immediately we started to wonder where Shannon Sharpe gonna go next. We already know what Skip Bayless's plan is. He's gonna be bringing Lil Wayne each and every Friday to debate him, in addition to bringing in Rachel Nichols periodically to debate him, and bringing in Richard Sherman 100 to 200 times to have football-based debates with him, which is a really excellent pivot considering how Shannon Sharpe just left him abruptly about a month and a half ago. Undisputed is set to launch within the next week, and I can't wait to see whether or not the new format works for Skip Bayless. But what is Shannon Sharpe's plan? We've heard some speculation. He has been in talks with FanDuel TV so far, and the talk with FanDuel TV is probably to get his podcast Lab Shay Shay partnered with a reputable gaming brand. But there was a lot of speculation about whether or not Shannon Sharpe could also make the jump to ESPN. About a week ago, we actually brought you a report suggesting that Shannon Sharpe was in touch with ESPN to be in a contributor role. Now, ESPN is currently in a very interesting situation. Disney, their parent company, lost $5 billion in total revenue over the past year. Now, whether you want to attribute that to the fact that their movies don't hit the same, where they're aligning politically, the fact that they're at war with the governor of Florida, which is all stuff that Stephen A. Smith said in his podcast a couple weeks ago, or the fact that as a result of COVID, people weren't visiting their parks as much anymore, is up to you guys. The facts are that Disney lost a significant amount of revenue, and it seems like ESPN took the hit for that the most. They laid off so many of their reputable employees, they broke up some groups that were very near and dear to our hearts, especially if you're an NBA NBA fan, and all of this was done presumably to help ESPN's bottom line. At the same time, they decided to sign the Pat McAfee show to what Andrew Marchand says was a 5-year, $85 million deal. Now, Pat McAfee disputes this number and says it isn't necessarily true, but you're gonna see a little theme over here. Pat McAfee is set to debut on ESPN during September 7th, 2023, which is a couple weeks away, and it seems like phase 1 of ESPN's brand new plan is their morning lineup will begin looking like this. At 8 a.m. Eastern, they'll start with Get Up. Following that, at 10 a.m. Eastern, First Take will begin. And then at 12 noon Eastern and on, they'll have the Pat McAfee show running from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern time. So it seems like that's phase 1. But in addition to this, we're hearing from Andrew Marchand once again that ESPN has officially sealed the deal with Shannon Sharpe. According to the New York Post, First Take will have a new wrinkle this fall. Shannon Sharpe will square off against Stephen A. Smith on Mondays and Tuesdays on the ESPN debate program during football season, the Post has learned. As the Post first reported, Sharpe exited his partnership with Smith's previous debate opponent, Skip Bayless, on FS1's Undisputed after the NBA Finals in June. Sharpe's First Take role is in some ways full circle, as it was his guest appearances on the program with Bayless when the show aired on ESPN2 that convinced Bayless and former FS1 boss Jamie Horowitz that the chemistry would work as permanent partners. Sharpe is also expected to soon find a landing spot for his popular Club Shay Shay podcast. Sharpe and Smith had publicly expressed interest in linking up. Now, ESPN declined to comment on this, and I want to say that part in particular is very significant because it seems like, once again, and I'm starting to see a theme here, Pat McAfee, bear in mind, denied Andrew Marchand's original report in terms of how much he is earning. And it seems like Stephen A. Smith is singing a similar tune on this situation on his podcast, because when asked about the news, this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Shannon Sharpe potentially joining First Take for 2 days out of the week.
It's a beautiful smile on my face because we all know it's something that I want. It's something that I've declared because I respect Shannon. I like him. I think he'd be a tremendous asset to the show, my show, which is my day job. But my point is that it'll be great to have him. Here's the issue. We don't. Sorry, Andrew Marchand of the New York Post. It's a bit premature. Shannon Sharpe has yet to sign on the dotted line to be a member of First Take. It has not happened yet. I'm still confident it'll happen. I still believe it will happen. I think it needs to happen. And I have no doubt that I'm going to exhaust any means I have available to me to make it happen.
Now, whether or not this is some sort of publicity stunt or if it's information that they don't want to get out is up for you to decide. Do I think this is true? Personally, I think an agreement has been in place and they want to announce it closer to the season when Shannon Sharpe will start to debut on the program, just so they could generate hype a little bit better. Because at this point, the strategy for Shannon Sharpe seems to be very crystal clear. You build your brand on FS1 with Skip Bayless on Undisputed. Upon successfully doing that, you launch your own podcast. You clearly become one of the most entertaining figures in all of sports analysis. And then, right when an opportunity presents itself, such as Pat McAfee leaving FanDuel TV to go to ESPN, which results in a lot of money being freed up by FanDuel TV, you agree to a buyout with FS1, partner your podcast with FanDuel TV, which would allow you to work significantly less and not have to wake up nearly as early as you once had to. And in order to continue to have a presence on nationally televised sports programs, you decide to sign with ESPN in order to appear on First Take twice a week, which significantly reduces your workload. On top of that, First Take airs a little bit later than Undisputed did at 10 a.m. Eastern, and it's not as much of a commitment. You won't have to debate the same human being each and every day, so they'll spice things up a little bit. I personally think this report is true, but if you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.